Hello there. So, just doing a little live video. Just want to answer a few questions that some people have put to me. So, first of all, someone did ask me when am I going to do the How to Deadlift £700 video series. So, I'm working on it right now. Been recording it for the last week or so. Um, so, it's going to come in 7 parts, seven for £700. So, 7 different videos, and I'm probably going to be releasing them probably one every other day or something like that. I'm working on them now. Yeah, hopefully, going to have them done in the next week or so. Where I work and I do shift work, it's difficult as well. So I'm just trying to work around that basically, and just try and get them done when I can. Um, it's not easy, but obviously with the scripting, the filming, and all that, and making sure that it's all done properly and it all makes sense. But they are going to be coming soon, so watch this space for that. The other thing, and all, now that I've deadlifted £700, people have asked me, what's your next goal? And some people have suggested, like, are you going to go for the £330 log press? So I am going to do that. Maybe not straight away, but that is definitely on my radar. That's something I do want to do. So I've just done a 41-hour fast. I was going to have a week off training, but actually I think I might go back on Monday. But I'm probably going to do like a 6-week restoration block first, because I'm just not feeling too good. So just try and just do some corrective exercises and stuff. I've got a few niggles and stuff, nothing major. But I might get that sorted. And the restoration block, it's only 6 weeks. So I think, I'm going to do it. And then when I go back to proper training, I think the 150 kilo log press, I think that's the next thing. That's going to be my next goal. So I'm going to have at least 2 days dedicated to pressing. Now, since my log press is nowhere near as good as it is, I'm probably going to start off with an accumulation block and just get used to log pressing again. And also, I'm going to do 2 days because I find that if I do 2 days a week pressing, I get on a lot better with that. Pressing needs more volume than the deadlift does. I normally respond better to more volume and 2 days a week when it comes to pressing. So that's the plan. I've already kind of like got it mapped out of what I'm going to do. Once I do start it, I expect to do it in probably 16 weeks. So I'll probably do an 8-week accumulation block and just build that strength and build that skill and just get used to pressing a log and just find them proper movements and find that rack position. Because I'm with log, I'm good at the clean, but once I've got it to the rack, once I've got it in the rack position, once I've got it on my shoulders, that's where I struggle. And the best tips for that is to make sure you get your head back. That's something that really helped me with the log press. And I would like a 180 bench, so I'm going to work on bench and all, especially incline, because incline, especially with the shoulder saver, that's a really good assistance exercise for the log press. So log is what I'm going to be working on. So let's see if I've got any questions here. Hi, mate. I'm all for farmers carries. Have you got any tips? Well, so with farmers, where you got the handle, you want to. I find I do better if I have my finger right in the middle of the farmers, or maybe slightly back, so that when you lift it, the handle goes ever so slightly forward. You don't want to have your hands too far forward, because then the farmers will tip back, and then it's basically just going to work its way out of your hands. Is it speeds that you struggle with, or grip? What's your issue? Where did I get my shoulder saver from? Oh, I'm trying to. I'd have to have a. I think I got it from Amazon, but I'm not sure. I will. I will check back through my purchase history and have a look for you. It's not actually a traditional shoulder saver that MS2 uses, it's more like a block press, really. It's kind of like a board press, but it's made of plastic. So it's not a proper shoulder saver like what Shane Germain's got. It's nothing like that. But it's basically just as good, really. It takes 2 to 4 inches off your bench. There's 2 different settings. No, I haven't got it with me. I've got it in my gym bag, but yeah, I will have a look because it is just as good basically as what he uses. So, going back to the farmers walks, if speed is your issue, then basically just work at a lower weight and just set a distance. If you're doing a competition, it's 20 meters there and back, then do that and just try to get quicker at that. If picking up and turning around is your issue, maybe instead of doing 20 meters, maybe just do 5 meters and just do 4 sets and just run it 5 meters and practice carrying it back and forth. And then that'll make you quicker at the turns. If grip is your issue, maybe frame holds are quite good. Hi, Glenn. How can I get a bigger bench? Okay. Right. So, right, I'm not the best in the world at bench press. The best bench press I ever did is 170 kilos, which may seem big to some, but considering that my deadlift is 320, that's actually quite low compared to my deadlift. Bench press has probably been. That's right. You're very welcome, Luke. Bench press has probably been one of my weakest lifts in relation to the others, but I find if you want a bigger bench, train it at least twice a week. Slow eccentrics are good, I find. So maybe you can do like a 10-second eccentric 1 week, and then the next week up the weight a little bit and do an 8-second eccentric. If you're powerlifting and you're doing a competition, it's good to get good at pauses. But if you don't compete and you just want to go do touch and go, you can do that and all. But pauses are good as well. That strengthens the start. With me, I'm okay off the chest, but I kind of struggle probably about halfway up. So I would probably need more lockout work. So pressing from pins as well is good. There's a gentleman that goes to the gym. You can find him on TikTok, actually. He calls himself Zeus, and he's like a 210 kilo bench presser, and he does lots of pin presses. So he'll set the pins probably about 2 inches off his chest and press from a dead stop, and he claims that that's really good as well. So when I go back to pressing, I might actually try that myself. You could also, with the accumulation block, when I do bench pressing, sometimes I'll do 20 reps, but with pressing as well, you always want to leave a bit in the tank. So you want to train heavy, but not quite to failure. You want to walk away feeling like you could have done another rep or two. So with bench press, there was a time where on incline I was doing 130 for 8, and I just did lots of high reps. I did 20 reps 1 week, then 15, then 10, and then 8. But what I would do is every other week I would use the same rep range but lighter weight. So for the first week I'd do 20 reps but do it to about RPE 7. Then the next week I'd do 20 reps again, but this time more weight. And then when I got to the third week, I would do 15 reps, but I would probably use the same weight that I used for 20 reps the week before. So you're only in the alternate weeks, you're pushing to RPE 7, so you're leaving about 3 or 4 reps in the tank. But on the other weeks, you're pushing to RPE 9, so you're leaving a rep in the tank. So you're basically going light, heavy. So you do 2 weeks of 20s, 2 weeks of 15s, 2 weeks of 12s, and then 2 weeks of 10s, or 2 weeks of 20s, 2 weeks of 15s, 2 weeks of 10, and then 2 weeks of 8. But you're only pushing it every other week. So yeah, there's lots of good ways. Maybe after bench press, add incline press as well. That will help. That's a good assistance exercise for bench press and all. Bands as well are good. You can you can type. You can put bands around your bar basically and do banded presses. when I do bench press, because I normally train alone, need to be careful when I'm doing bench because I don't normally have a spotter, so I just need to make sure that I'm not training to failure. And if I have any doubt about the weight, then I don't do it. Um, I would only go for it if I'm like not 80, 90% certain that I'll get it. Sometimes I'll only go for it if I'm 100% certain I can get it. If I'm not sure, then I won't risk it. So yeah, but yeah, log press is going to be the next one. So well, as far as as far as restoration goes, so that's not a deload. Restoration is basically about just doing corrective exercises to basically fix whatever issues you might have. So, for example, there's some guys that can't like lock out overhead and all that. So they might have to do certain exercises to like work their positions and give themselves more range. For example, pull downs behind the neck are really good, or seated presses behind the neck because they can open up that range. Some guys, when they do press behind the neck, they can only go to like this level. But if you keep practicing it, eventually you'll. I mean, I don't have that. I've actually got quite good flexibility, so I can do presses behind the neck quite well, and I can actually do pull downs behind the neck quite well. There's a lot of guys that can't do that, so I think I'm quite lucky in that respect. But every now and again, I like to do some regeneration exercises because they're good for fixing the imbalances that you might have. So, right, okay. Right, so with the how to deadlift 700 pound video series, yeah, so it's gonna be 7 videos. So the first video is going to be called "Background and History of My Deadlift Progress," and it's about 45 minutes long. But it basically because I started lifting way back in about 2001. So it basically just goes over the last 23 years of my deadlifts, basically, and gives you the history and all that because deadlifts. Progress can be slow on the deadlift, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. So I just want to give people that history just to understand that if you're a newbie and you're deadlifting 300, you're not going to deadlift 700 overnight. You may not even ever deadlift 700, but the video series is just there to just show how I did it, how I deadlifted 700, and maybe help give people some hints and tips so that they can go away and hopefully improve their own deadlift. Maybe if there's someone out there um, that's deadlifting 350, maybe my videos might help them get to the next level and get to that 400 bench, or maybe if they're deadlifting in the 400 dead, or maybe if they're deadlifting in the 400s, maybe they might pick up some hints and tips that might get them to the 500. So the second video is going to be just hints and tips and other stuff, basically, going into recovery stuff, warm ups and stuff that I do, and weight jumps and all that, because it's always going to be different. What weight jumps you use and all that. So a little thing now, you've probably seen this on my video, but when I deadlifted 320, my weight jumps was 70 kilos for 5, 110 kilos for 3, and then every single set that I did after that was just a single. So 150 for 150 for 1, 190 for 1, 230 for 1, 270 for 1, 300 for 1, and then 320. I was debating about whether to do 260, 290, and 320, but when I attempted it before, I went for 295 and then I went for 320. That was when I failed it before, and I found that a 25 kilo jump was a little bit too much. I find if I could do 300 and do it comfortably, then it's not so much of a shock to me when I go for 320. If 300 feels comfortable, then I know I can get 20 kilos more. That's not a problem. Whereas if I go 290, that's a 30 kilo jump. So I wanted to make the jump smaller as I went along. My other reason for doing it as well is because when I'm going for a max, I like to use the 84, 93, 100 principle. And what that basically means is when I do my last 3 attempts, I try and do it like a powerlifting meet. So when Hathor and Eddie did that, when Eddie did his 500 deadlift, his opening attempts was 420 and 465. So 420 is 84% of 500, and 465 is 93% of 100. So when I did my 320, I worked out. So 84% was roughly about 268. So I thought, okay, 270, that's close enough. And then 93% was 297, I believe. So I went for 300. So that's how I worked out um, the different um, weight jumps that I was going to use. And I was happy with that. I mean, some people will probably do it a little bit differently, but I found that that's what worked best for me, was doing 270, 300 and 320. So I did it as if it was like a meet or something. And I imagine I was like at the Arnold Strongman Classic and I was doing my deadlift, and those were my 3 lifts. They're the lifts that I would have picked if I was competing there: 270, 300 and 320. Okay, so 15 minutes in. So I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, if you like this live and you'd like to see more, um, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I might start doing more of these if they become popular. Okay, laters, guys.